With access to multiple amazing trail systems and outdoor opportunities, Salida, Colorado attracts outdoor enthusiasts, including runners. And with me today is Anthony Miller, a fellow runner and the co-owner of 7,000 Feet Running Company. 7,000 Feet Running Company opened in 2017 and has been a cornerstone in the running community in this small town. Not only selling running gear, but sponsoring events, hosting running groups, and offering expert advice for people looking to run in this area. Anthony and his wife, Christy, purchased 7,000 Feet in the fall of 2025 from the original owners, and their goal is to ensure the store remains a community center for runners.
Yep.
I'll correct.
That's
today.
all right. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your journey to Salida. Where were you before this, and how did you end up in our small little?
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking me here, first of all. But
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So we lived in Charlotte, North Carolina before relocating. And I had done the Leadville races for a number of years, and I had visited Leadville, or I'd signed up for a Leadville race. And I waited until the last minute to get a hotel, and everywhere was full.
Yeah.
And so I looked at BV, they were full, and the hostel was open here in Salida.
Oh, okay.
This was like 2017-ish time frame. And stayed here and spent a couple of days here. I was like, oh my gosh, this Salida is unbelievable. And so that was like my intro to it.
Okay.
And I told my wife, I was like, we have to check this town out.
Yeah.
And so kind of fast forward to 2021, we ended up moving here. We visited a couple of times.
Yeah.
And COVID hit. We both work remotely.
Okay.
And so we were able to work wherever. And so we just relocated to Salida.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a good amount of people who kind of came to that conclusion.
Yeah,
particularly
very similar
around the
stories.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's great because I feel like we got a good influx of people coming that, are an asset to this community. I mean, now you're very much part of the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you were a runner obviously before. Was it the Leadville 100 that you were running?
Yeah, so I did the Leadville 100 mountain bike and the run several times in the Lead Challenge. And when we moved here, we really didn't know anyone. I knew some folks in Leadville, but didn't know anyone. And so I was always hanging out at the running shop with Andrew and the gang. And I was just kind of I called it myself like a professional loafer. If I wasn't working or running or anything else, I was hanging out at the running shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. With Andrew and the team, yeah.
So then I know, I have so many questions about that. But so, I guess let's talk about then how... Now here we are. It's beginning to middle of 2026.
Yeah.
You purchased the store not that long ago.
No.
So how did that come about then?
So I was at the store like loafing one day, and Andrew just kind of approached me. He's like, "Hey man, of course we're both from Kentucky originally."
That's right.
And we were just kind of chewing the fat. And he said, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling the store. Would you guys be interested?" And he knows that, we have 3 children here in the community, and my wife, she's a tennis coach, and, we're embedded in the community. He said, I think it'd be a great fit.
Yeah.
And so we, kind of did a due diligence review and said, sure, we'll give it a go. That's like 6 months ago. Christy, my wife, she told me, she goes the other day, she's like, it's been 6 months. And it feels like 6 days ago.
Really?
Since we bought it, which is great.
That's awesome because I know, so I guess to back up, so like I said in the intro, 7,000 Feet Running Company, it was owned by the Walkers.
Yep.
And
Andrew and Emily.
And it is more than just a store that's selling running stuff. I mean, the fact that you could just hang out there as a runner and community member and it feels like a welcoming environment just says a lot about just that place. If you've ever been in there, I mean, that was my experience. I have to say, personally, when I moved here in 2017, it was right before they opened the shop. But there's a running club that they're very closely entwined with.
Yeah.
And that's how I met a lot of my first friends was just joining the running club.
Totally.
And finding, you just find people that you have stuff in common with, like running, and it kind of just evolves from there.
It goes from there. The next thing you know, you're having maybe a beer after a run. The next thing you know, you're over at somebody's house on a Friday or Saturday night having dinner. It's an institution.
Absolutely.
And that's like been our main goal since day one is protect the culture of the store and everything that it's done.
Yeah, so you, I guess talk a little bit more about that. What kind of community events can people, if you're visiting Salida for the first time or you haven't been to 7,000 Feet yet, what can people expect?
Yeah, we have several group runs, so we have a group run on Mondays at 5:30.
Okay.
We have a Friday morning run. There is a Saturday morning women's group run. We're going to be doing some more stuff on Saturday morning. for the teams that want to run. We support the school system, track, cross country as well. We're big supporters of that, offer the discounts for the team members.
Okay.
We bring in demo runs, and so we understand, kind of like here in Salida, you're a good ways away from, I would say civilization, but like big city stuff.
Big city stuff for sure.
And so like Nike, Adidas, any of the brands, when a new shoe comes out, we want them to come in, and we want folks in the community, because we know there are a ton of runners in the community. We want them to test it out. We want them to see the shoe and be a part of that. So we have ambassadors. I think we have around 14 ambassadors. These are folks that are in the community. They're not professional runners. I'm not a professional runner. These are individuals that are out in the community that we just want to get 7,000 feet in the name out and encourage folks to get involved. Local races, those type of things.
Yeah. Well, then I guess talk a little bit more about like the why Salida is like why are there so many runners here?
Well, I mean, you can just look around. You just look around. It's unbelievable. It's like when summer time hits, things. It's like Christy's like, well, where do we go on vacation? I was like, we're in paradise.
Totally.
So our trails, S Mountain, Tenderfoot, everything behind town.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the banana belt. So you get a little snow, which we haven't had a lot of this year. It's usually gone within a couple of days. And so we say that we run like 90% of the year on the trails, and we do. I mean, you look at our wall, we sell maybe a handful of road shoes because everything's trail. And then you've got the Colorado Trail that's opened up. I've hit it a couple of times already this year. You've got all of the 14ers that we have. You've got Leadville. You've got all the races in BV. You've got High Lonesome, which takes place in July. So it's like, this is the running paradise. And we're starting to see more and more of that. Professional runners live here.
Yeah.
Professional runners, spend their summers here as well, just because they know that you can run all the time. At 7,000 feet is like a perfect altitude for running. You're not too high like at Leadville at 10,000, or you're not at like 3,000. 7,000 is perfect for acclimatization and just getting involved in, getting at altitude, getting those lungs ready.
Getting them ready for Leadville 100 and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All the other ones.
Yeah.
So I guess tell me a little bit more about your background in running then, and how that affects what you can bring to 7,000 feet.
Yeah. So I've kind of been in corporate America, since 18 on or after college or whenever, and so I was always running, doing maybe some like triathlons or maybe some half marathons, but around 2015 started really getting into marathons, and then started getting into ultras, and it's kind of addictive. Once you start, you get the itch, you have to have the scratch. And so, I've done a handful of ultras. I've done Leadville several times. I've done the Lead Challenge, which are all the races in Leadville combined in a summer. And just recently did High Lonesome as well. So, I'm not a professional runner. I'm like middle of the pack runner. But it's just,
out there.
I'm out there. I'm out there and I'm having fun. I'm enjoying, outside what we have here in the community.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Are you still, or do you have anything planned this year?
High Lonesome.
Oh, you're going to do it again? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again. So I did Black Canyon in Arizona. I did the 50K, and I'll do Collegiate Peaks. It's a local race in BV, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Not the 50K, the 25. There's a 25 miler and there's a 50 miler.
Okay.
So I'll do the 25, and that's always a good kind of knock the cobwebs off, get ready for the summer. But just spending time the CT, we haven't had it, the snow is kind of gone already.
I know.
Yeah, so, I think here in a couple of weeks we'll be able to get up to Antero and maybe do the Browns, a Little Brown Loop, which is like, it's a world-class loop. Tons of pros on that. You see it every year. Folks getting ready for Hard Rock, you see them up there. So it's going to start opening up here soon, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what can you tell me more about just the community itself? Like, what has been your experience with Salida?
Yeah,
as somebody who's been here.
The community's been fantastic, and I'm not just a runner. I love to mountain bike as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just the community is just so, their arms are wide open. Like when we moved here, Subculture and Absolute, they were here for you, and I think that's what I'd recommend folks listening to this. You want to get involved, just go in the shops, just be part of the community. So we have 3 children.
Okay.
Eli, who's 17, Mason, who's also 17, they're twins.
Okay.
Eli works at Amica's, And Mason works at the soda shop. So folks go in, and both of them, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on here? I just saw
Didn't I just see you
Didn't I
next
just
door?"
see you? Yeah. So they're working. They're in the community.
Yeah.
And my daughter Shelby, she is 14, probably going on 34.
Okay.
Actually, she just turned 15. She's going to be upset that I didn't. I just missed. That was last week. But the community is just it's like a village. They always say it takes a village. It does. And that's what Salida is. It's like a village. Everybody's looking out for each other. Even, small businesses downtown. We didn't really realize it until you step into it. Everybody's got your back.
Okay.
Everybody's got your back. Everybody's looking out for each other. And it's just, it's a small, tight-knit community that where everybody's just there for everybody.
Yeah, so you're saying other business owners after you purchased the business?
Oh, absolutely.
You felt that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We had folks come down, introduce themselves to us, and it's a small little community where we all look out for each other.
Yeah, I like that. And so your kids, obviously, doing the math, were 6 years younger, 5-ish years younger. But so you basically had older kids to teenagers here growing up.
Yeah.
But you were previously in Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
So what are the differences between raising a kid in the city and raising kids here?
It's instantaneous. You could tell. It's like, so first of all, they go to school 4 days a week.
Sure.
Here, which
so
they were
has
just
no school on Friday.
Exactly. The teachers, nothing against what was going on the East Coast. Teachers were fantastic. It's just a different type of education they're getting.
Okay.
Yeah, in East Coast, I mean, if you've ever been driven anywhere by a school, you see like mobile homes. The trailers it's just the schools aren't big enough, so they're putting mobile homes on school properties, and the ratio teacher to kids, it's really off whack. Here, they're getting that attention that they need. Okay. Yeah, and you get to see them thrive. You just really do. And again, they're off on Fridays, so they're mountain biking, or they're skiing at Monarch, or they're working, or hanging out with their friends. It's just completely different. And when we first moved here, the boys were like 13-ish. We could cut them loose through town and just say, "Hey, go hang out at the skate park or go to the whatever." And you just couldn't do that in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was just so much traffic, such a big city. But here, you just put an air tag on them somewhere that they don't know about, and you just tell them to cut loose, which was great.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of parents. I have a 6-year-old, so we're not quite there yet. But just how older kids are more free range here because they can be.
Absolutely.
Whereas you wouldn't be able to in the city, just like you said, because of traffic or just feeling safe in certain areas. So we've got parks and skate parks and just being able to, and it's a village,
Yeah.
I feel like other parents might be like, "Oh, I saw your kid, going over that way. Did you know that?" Like they check on each other,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Andrew not too long ago. He actually sent me a text. He goes, "Hey, I just saw Eli on F Street, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. Just give me a heads up that he was supposed to be in school." And I was like, "Oh, that's his off period. He's going to get like something at Brown Dog, get a coffee or something like that." And you just can't do that in a big city.
Totally. Yeah, but you're not anonymous.
Yeah, exactly. You're not anonymous. And there's somebody saw it and said, "Hey, I just thought I'd let you know your kid's not in school." But I was like, "Hey, thanks. I appreciate it."
Yeah. In case he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't really get away with a whole lot here. Or just, something happens and they need help. And,
exactly.
like there's other adults that are out there to help them. So
yeah, totally.
I love that. Anything else people need to know about in terms of, what to expect with 7,000 feet and
I think if you come in, you'll see that we've redone things.
Okay.
We've moved the counter. We've got a shoe wall now, so we wanted to increase inventory.
Okay.
So we've got several new brands. We cater to the pro runner all the way to someone who is just athleisure, somebody who just wants to walk around.
Yeah.
Don't just think of 7,000 feet as a running shop.
Okay.
We have shoes. Everybody needs shoes.
Totally.
And we have those. We have shoes that, you could walk around town with, or you could run a 100-mile race with. It just varies from that. And also one thing that my wife Christy was all about is she said, we need to get some apparel. We really need to get some apparel in here. And so we partnered with Lululemon. We're one of the first providers of Lululemon here between Colorado Springs and Aspen. So they're focusing on specialty running shops, and they were really excited to get in. So we have Lululemon. We have anything you're going to need, from whether it's tennis, football, you name it, athleisure, we're there for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so where can people find you exactly?
So we're on First Street, a couple of doors down from Lago. New restaurant opened up.
That's right.
Yeah, we're and right next door to Woods. So you can't miss us. As soon as you come into town, you'll see the big sign, 7,000 feet.
Yeah, it's a good spot. And so if people want to do any of the running, so we've been talking a lot about professional runners and fast runners, but what about somebody who maybe isn't as fast?
Totally. And
what's good for them?
We get it that it can be somewhat intimidating coming into a running shop. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do. We wanted to break down that wall.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we have ambassadors. One of the ambassadors, we had them put in applications and we read them. And one of them said, I've always felt intimidated coming into a running shop. And I wanted to change that. So that's where we wanted to have the group runs. It's on our Instagram, follow our social media when we have the demos and group runs. We want you to get part of it. The Monday run is a no drop run. Okay. And so it's not super fast.
Yeah.
You're gonna have somebody who might be super fast, a pro, but you also might have somebody who's just getting started.
Yeah.
And so the pro's gonna wait for the person who's getting started. There's usually around 7 to 15 folks in a group. And so it's a no drop, which means that you're not gonna be left behind. In those runs. And so that's the big thing, is we just want you to know that, we all started. Everybody started running at some point in time, and that's what we're passionate about, just getting folks involved in running and getting you out there.
Yeah.
That's the first step. Just come into the store and you'll see.
I love that. And then just, it's a great way to experience a trail. So even if you're coming into town and visiting, it's a great way to just meet a few people, see some trails that maybe you didn't even know connected the way they do. I know when I first moved here, I learned the Arc Hills and how they all connected by
totally
running them, and it's really, you can, there's some really nice loops.
There is, and that's the thing about when I moved here, I was the same way. I didn't know. I'd sit down and maybe get on the internet, look at trails.
Yeah.
Come in and talk to our team members. We have Evan and so many team members who are just passionate, and we have maps all over the wall. We can show you where to go on, Tenderfoot and the trails behind town. We can show you where to go on CT. We love talking about this stuff. I mean, we could talk about it all day long. That's the big thing. Just come in and talk to us. I guess that's probably where the passion comes. Seeing new runners come in and be like, well, I'm starting a marathon. I don't know how to do nutrition. It's like, hey, we can be your coach. Not that we would charge coaching, but we can tell you kind of from our experience what we would do, what kind of shoe we would wear, what kind of vest all of that stuff. That's what we're here for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a valuable thing. Thank you for what you're doing in the community and for continuing it. I mean, running is such a big part of our community. And,
totally.
Well, all sports, outdoors.
Yeah.
Loving the trails and being out there and being a part of this community. So, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.